with Eileen.
Live from Eileen's bedroom. Curly Cutie. Episode 4.
All right. Except the name of the podcast is Life in Curly Cues.
Oh, awkward. Curly
My brother is a
Cues.
fake fan. But welcome, brother.
Fake it till you make it. But I
Well-
didn't make it.
Welcome to Life in Curly Cues podcast. Still can't English.
Mm.
Episode 4.
Nice, nice. It's good to be here. Hello, people out there that I do not know. I am Jonathan, and I'm her little brother, older brother
Not-
to the little brother.
No. Well, okay.
I am the middle child.
He's the middle child. He is way taller than me.
I'm the
Everybody
middle
in the
big
family
brother.
is taller than me.
middle big brother, and then I'm
Middle
the
big
little big brother. Because the little brother is bigger than the big brother.
If you understood any of that logic, go ahead and just give us a like.
However I explained it is literally however it looks. You know,
So-
confusing.
So, in case you didn't catch on that, this is Jonathan. He is my younger brother, but also taller brother. Well, the youngest is actually the tallest out of all of us.
Yeah,
But,
sadly.
anyways, this is my brother.
You got me,
Jonathan.
Christopher. You got me.
This is Jonathan. He is 20. He's still freshly 21.
Yep, November 1st, All Saints
Yep.
Day. Woo woo.
We're
Where my
only-
Scorpios at?
Oh my goodness. Why did I invite you here? He is only 2 years younger than me. So we've kind of been always attached
Yep.
at the hip
Yep.
with anything. We went to the same school and everything. But enough about me explaining who you are. Besides this whole little spiel you just gave, do you want to tell the world about you? What do you do? That type of thing.
So,
Who is Jonathan?
Jonathan. So, I look at myself. I had two different people, right? Throughout college, I was Johnny, and he thought he could do life, but psych, wrong. But myself, I'm a strong, cunning guy. I go to Texas State University. Graduate in May. Woo woo. Yep. Yes, sir. Eat 'em up, cats. I'm in RTC. I've been doing RTC for 4 years. I actually had a scholarship for RTC, and then too much freshman year, and I actually lost it. So now I was on the grind, but then not on the grind, but then I back on the grind, and then just had a bitch too much fun in college. Didn't take
But
it
who
seriously.
doesn't? I mean,
Yeah.
I also had too much fun my first
Yeah,
year.
but I had a lot of fun. Way too much fun.
Well, that's Jonathan. So yeah, we went
Yeah.
to the same university. We are only like I said, 2 years apart. So when I was a junior is when he
It was a little freshy.
a little freshy fish. And a lot of people
Little
like
squirt.
they see us and they don't believe that we're brother and sister.
Yeah. So she's Blanca, and I'm a
I am a white Puerto Rican,
and I
and
am
he is
a
a
brown-
brown
I
Puerto
am,
Rican.
the darkest.
But we
and-
are siblings by blood. And a lot of people say, like, we look alike, and some people are like, I don't see it. And I'm like, I don't know. We're siblings. That's what it is. Jonathan here knows that I have this podcast, but the great brother he is, he hasn't actually listened to an episode yet. So I could really say anything right now, and he'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yep.
That's part of her gig.
basically
But
going with the flow.
I kind of gave him a little spiel beforehand, and I gave him the little overview, and we're gonna go right off into it, just like always. So I ask everyone on my podcast, if you've experienced a moment so far, you're a fairly new adult, essentially. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
everyone's legal at 18, but
Mhm.
like you're fairly new to this adulting thing. And so have you experienced a moment yet where you're like, or no, start over, still can't talk.
Blah, blah, blah,
What
blah,
was
blah,
the
blah, blah,
first
blah, blah.
moment? Because you've experienced lots of things, but what was the first moment that happened where you were like, oh shit, I'm an adult now? Like, what was the very first thing that just made you realize, okay, this is adulting. This is what I'm doing.
The first moment where I was like,
Mhm.
adult. I would have to say, dang, first moment I was
Like, I'll give you an example. My first moment that I explained in the first episode was me buying Fernando my car. because that was a thing that I paid for myself,
See, that doesn't make me
and
feel
that was
like
a
doesn't make me feel like an adult because
well,
everybody
and
gets a car, you know.
but everyone's different. That was the moment that made me feel like one because I was paying for it myself.
I guess the moment where I feel like I was adult, mm, when I first moved into an apartment, I started paying bills, and then
Mhm.
I wasn't able to able to pay bills, and I was applied to do what them things called a loan through the bank. I wasn't really thinking. I tried to do it behind mom and dad's back, but right there at that moment, I was like, "Yep, this is adulting," and I thought I could do it. Next, I get that phone call. What are you doing? Why do you got? What are you doing? Why are you trying to get a loan? It just affects us. And I was like, oh, dang it. I adulted wrong.
So your first moment was
Yeah.
applying for a loan to be able to pay
Yeah.
for your rent.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's a first here
Yeah.
that we've had.
But mine's definitely an accumulation of many things.
I know, and
that is not for radio.
just touch the microphone. And that's for everybody. Like everybody has moments that kind of all merge into each other, but it always starts off with one thing.
Yeah.
So when I was in college, I lived in the dorms, which now they're trying to call them residence halls. I lived in those all 4 years. So I didn't adult in that way.
I did everything possible you could do in college. Literally
And
everything.
so Johnny did it differently, where he stayed in a dorm his first year, but then after that, you left the dorm life. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, clearly it's different,
Yeah.
but like, how different was it? Because I didn't experience a lot of things because I
So-
stayed on dorms and there were a lot of restrictions.
So, from the dorm life freshman year, there were, like you said, there were a lot of restrictions. And me, I can't do restrictions. Restrictions are no go. At least, well, at that time, restrictions are no go. But definitely, I could have definitely lived throughout, all 4 years in a dorm. But, I didn't want to experience that dorm life because then I would have never grew up. I would have never felt like I grew up. So after my freshman year living in the dorm, shout out college in the 7th floor, room 721, 731, one of those two, or is it 730? It doesn't matter. College in 7th floor, that was me. But after that, my fall semester of my sophomore year, I had got a house with a couple of buddies, and that was a great time. Nothing. I had too much fun then, and the fact that I was able to get the house was due to the GI Bill, and I kind of got complacent on not finding a job. So come December, I had to leave. So the commuting life from San Antonio, that was intense. That.
Oh yeah, I did that for an entire summer, and
That
that's
sucked.
not fun.
That was not. You did that for summer. Imagine that January to May, waking up 5 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday through Thursday. Oh my goodness, and sometimes Friday to go to work. Crucial to the body. That sucked. That was terrible. But it helped me realize that you can't always have fun. You got when it's time to get down to business. It's time to get down to business. And, I realized that at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do in order to succeed and be successful in life.
Makes sense.
But with doing that, being able to be financially stable, I finally get enough money to and a job that I could get an apartment with. My junior my junior year, I finally got my own apartment, and that was honestly the greatest time ever. I could ride the bus to school whenever. I didn't have to drive. I was relaxed. But sometimes you wake up late and then you miss the bus. You gotta wait a whole another time for the bus. So
Oh yeah, and the Texas State.
yeah, the
Bus
Texas State
system.
shuttle is so slow and then so packed, and you're
Yeah.
like, goodness gracious, why am I so close to you? Then you're like, oh goodness, I gotta be close to you, and then the bus drivers stop abruptly and you bump the person next to you or behind you, and it's just
Or you get on too late and then
Yeah,
you're just standing
you're
there
standing
and
there.
trying not to run into
I remember one time
anybody.
I was on the bus and it was so hot. I was like, geez, and then there was a train. Oh, San Marcos train. Oh my goodness, it was like 100 degrees in the bus. The AC wasn't working. The train came on. I told the bus driver, "Yo, open these doors. I gotta sit down, man. It's too hot. Muy caliente in here." And everybody started laughing. But getting that apartment showed me that you gotta be not. I went from being able to be what's the word I'm looking for? Be on time to being responsible of my stuff. And then from being responsible, and doing out all the stuff, I was able to get a new apartment. My senior year, I was able to room with my roommate, Roz, because I went from having a roommate I knew my freshman year to two randoms. Then I went from those two randoms to three people I knew. My sophomore year, first fall semester, and then I had to leave that, so I went to commuting from home. Then I went from getting my own apartment with three other randoms who happened to be actually really cool people. Seth and Hunter. The other guy Eric was kind of to himself, kind of like a weirdo. So I didn't really talk to him that much. But Seth was a pretty cool guy, and so was Hunter. And then I went to Copper Beach, and I would I would have to say like he is truly my best friend, and that's Roz. He seen me in my darkest times, and he never ran away. He stuck there. He was there right by my side. Helped me out with a lot of things. And I helped him out with a lot of things too. Shout out to Roz. Hey Roz, when you watch this, shout out to you, dog. Like you're one of my brothers, bro. And
Yeah, it's very different.
yeah, it's very different. Like it's a different lifestyle. From high school, being home every day. After school, if I didn't play sports, like being on your own, that's like it's a hard life. I'm not even gonna lie. Like unless like trying to live it on your own, like and doing what you want to do, I'm telling you right now, it does not work. It
Oh
does
yeah.
not work.
You have to figure it out
You gotta
slowly.
you gotta figure out slowly and like
It
don't
takes a long
rush into
time.
anything. And I rushed into a lot of things. I rushed everything. I rushed trying to grow up, but that's just that was just how I've always been. I've always been that person like to rush into stuff. But lately I've slowed down. Slowed my life down, and then it's honestly working out when you slow things down.
Yeah, it works out. And then it's also kind of something with you and me is when ever since we've started school, we've always been in our class, in our grade, we've always been the youngest. And so we've always wanted to catch up and kind of be at the same level as everybody else in our grade. Because everyone else that's in our grade level, whatever you call it, they're always like either a year or 2 years older than us. And it was always like I especially was guilty of this, especially like younger, trying to grow up, like trying to be up with them and fit in and do all that stuff. And like you said, growing up too fast because you want to be at their level. But you have to realize like, oh no, let me age with my own time.
And then really with trying to rush into things, I've had so many jobs. I went from working from
I was gonna ask
I'm
you,
about to say
what's an odd, in reference to your jobs, what's like the oddest job you've had? Like, have you had any odd jobs?
oddest job. Okay, let me think. Literally all the jobs I've been to, there's always been like odd moments or like odd or like things I were like, okay, this is kind of odd, and I can really explain every single one of them. From McDonald's, it was funny because the reason.
Oh my gosh, I forgot you worked at McDonald's.
Yeah, that was literally that was my first job, McDonald's. From there, I went to working at the wash tub. That job
Oh,
literally
I
was.
forgot you had that. Wow, I forgot you had a lot of jobs.
I worked at a lot of places, but that's always wanted to be. I always wanted to see how everything works, that way.
Like in a different field.
In a different field, that way, if everybody if anybody comes to me with a problem in that field, I'll know the answer to it, because I want to help out everybody in this world, in everything. So, wash tub, the oddest thing I had is this minivan that came in and literally smelled like it was from 1985 inside. I hit them carpets and it was like, literally I could just smack it. And it was just like everything was coming out of the carpet and it was just so dirty and dusty. And I was like, oh yeah, I cannot work here no more in this hot sun. And they're paying me $7.25. Skirt, psych, no. So I ended up leaving there, and then I'm not gonna lie, literally one of the best places that showed me how to be a man. Well, not really be a man, but show what it takes to be good in a workplace is working at Texas Roadhouse, because like I'm not gonna lie, that place was hard. Picking up like
I was like, you were a busboy.
I was a busboy, picking up tables, and I wouldn't just pick up a table. I'd pick up like seven or eight tables. That way, like the place would be clean. We get more customers in there. So I put a lot of work into that place, and they loved me for it, And I know that I could probably go back to that place, work again, but that's not for me. That place wasn't for me. That was just to get my career started.
That was just to get money and experience.
Money and experience, and I'm glad for that experience because they worked with me, and then I happened to get really sick, and I had to go. That sucked. I got so sick. I felt like death.
You were dying,
I was
and then
literally
all it
dying.
was mono.
Yeah, I was literally dying. I felt like I was gonna die. Goodness, don't ever get mono, guys. That's terrible.
Now that's
then,
like the joke in the house.
Yeah.
If you're sick, we gotta check if you have mono.
So then I worked at What else have I worked at? I worked at the police
I
station.
was gonna say you were a dispatcher.
I was a dispatcher for police station. I worked for the 12. The pigs. But working at the police station, that was pretty odd. I met a lot of odd people there, but I still had a good time.
But that's a good thing. So you didn't mention this, but you're going to school for criminal justice.
Yeah, I'm going to school for criminal justice.
And that's a good kind of like step
Yeah.
into the field.
Yeah,
just being dispatched.
But I took advantage of that place, and the way I left was like kind of like rude because I didn't show up to work one day, and then I didn't tell nobody that I didn't show up to work, and then I came in the next day, and they're like, "Yo, what are you doing here?" And I was like, "Oh, I came to work." And they were like, "Oh, I thought your services were done with us." And I was like, "Oh, no, I mean, no one told me I was fired or anything." So then they leave. But this was towards the end of the job so I told my manager, look, do not put me on overnights by myself. And overnights was 10 to 6 in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine going from 10 to 6 in the morning consistently by yourself in a dark room with nothing but a computer, having to watch Netflix every day and eating snacks. Yeah, I would fall asleep in that job.
And then it's a college campus, so you're getting calls about
not
like
even. You're not even getting calls from 10 to 6. It's
really, you're not?
No,
because that's
it's
the time
quiet.
like people are out and getting way too crazy.
It's quiet. It's literally so quiet, and I would fall asleep every day, and then I would wake up and like literally just hate life. I would go home, wake up, and be like, "Oh God, my body feels like poo poo." So then, they leave, come back, they're like, "You gotta wait outside." I'm like, "All right, cool, I'll wait outside." And they come outside, and they're like, "Yeah, manager said that you have to come back, you have to come talk to her about your job." And I was like, "All right, cool, bet." In my mind, was already made up. I was gonna leave that place. So I come and say, "Hey, we still want you to work. Would you work for graduation?" I was like, "Yeah, no."
I'm done. Bye.
Bye. I told you to do something to help me out, and you didn't do it. So I'm not gonna support here. Like, you didn't help me out. Then I worked at Champs. And
I forgot you worked. I knew you worked at a store. I just can't remember.
It was Champs.
What
For the longest, I thought it was Finish Line. It was funny. I was like calling Finish Line. Yo, where's my W-2? How do I get my W-2? Look me up in the system. Where's my employee ID number? And they're like, dude, you're not even in the system. And I was like, what, bro? I swear I'm in the system. Then I remembered because I was cleaning out my laundry and I had my shirt, my Champs shorts and shirt. And I was like, oh,
that's where I worked.
That's where I worked. I worked at Champs, and Champs was cool. They were good people, and that was just a job I needed real quick before I left to go to RTC camp in Fort Knox. And I worked there for a couple weeks. It was fun when it lasted. I got to see the retail side of life, and I've always wanted to see the retail style of life. So that was pretty cool that I was able to do that.
Retail
and
sucks.
then now I work as a residential care, as a rehab kind of nurse, and that's honestly probably like, I love this job, because we have a cousin Saul who has like, I don't know exactly what he has, but that's the people we work with. And honestly, it just I love it. Like, I go there and like, I'm the guy that comes in that I put a smile on all their faces. They say, "Hey, Jonathan, come sit next to me. Come sit next to me." And like, for the people out there, if you don't know what a res care is, like, people in there that've been in car accidents, in their mind, they have the mind of a child, but they're like 30 or 40 or 50 years old, and they need help eating food, or
they just need help living their life.
They just need help living their life, but some of them don't need help living their life. They just need to be loved, They just want to feel that happiness because they don't get it from their family anymore. And
so that's what you do now.
That's what I do now. Every now and then I got to change the clothes. I got to wipe some booty cheeks. But, you got to do what you got to do, because they can't do it for themselves.
You got to do what you got to do to make a living.
You got to do what you got to do to make a living, no matter what it is. And if it's helping somebody out, I'm going to help them out.
And that's something about going to college and, like, having a job throughout college. Like, you end up having so many different jobs throughout your span of being in college because you're trying to make ends meet. You're trying to pay rent. You're trying to pay your tuition. You're trying to pay for so much while you're in school. And so you end up having all these different jobs. And sometimes many at a time. Like, when I was in school, I had 2 jobs, almost 3 at a time. And then, like, you've had a multiple span of jobs. You've had a couple at a time. And it's just trying to make ends meet. And that's something that, like, everyone has to go through when they're becoming an adult.
You gotta find.
You have to find something that clicks.
Yeah, something that clicks, something that you can wake up and be like, "Ooh, I want to go to work."
Exactly.
If you ever wake up and you're like, "I don't want to go to," like, I got work, then that's probably not the place for you. That means you're just going there.
That means you're just literally going to get money. Like, you have to find something you're interested in.
Yeah, the money and the interest have to equal.
And it's always something you don't expect it to be. Because
I would never think I would be
exactly.
I'd never think I'd be the guy to be at res care.
You
I
would have never
literally,
thought you'd be wiping
yeah,
old people's
never thought I
butts.
would do that. And then as soon as I did that, I had to text my family like, guys, I won't put you in a nursing home. You know, if I have to wipe your guys' butt, I will wipe your guys'
Yeah.
butt.
And it's always, yeah, like I said, it's always something you least expect. Like right now, I love my job. Did I ever see myself? I just bumped the microphone. Did I ever see myself being a preschool teacher? No. I went to school for aquatic biology.
Hmm.
I didn't want to deal with any type of people. And now
Yeah,
I'm working with itty bitty children.
yeah. So
But everyone has to do it. That's key part of like going to school, becoming an adult, like
yeah,
all these different jobs. And thanks for sharing all those different jobs. I forgot you had a lot of
yeah. I
those.
had a lot of those, you know. But I had to provide for me and my dog. I had got a dog too my
Oh
sophomore year in
yeah, you got a
college.
dog. But I think honestly that dog, Caesar, my nephew,
Yeah, Caesar.
I think he was like one of the best additions
Hmm.
that you needed in that time because when you
He
got
taught.
him, it was when Dad was deployed. And it was like a great little support animal for you at the
Yeah,
moment
it was.
because it was like it was our first time Dad was gone for so long and he was in a whole nother country. And then Caesar kind of just landed in that moment at the
It
right
was
time.
perfect. I remember
Yeah.
when I first got him. I love him to death. I remember I wasn't
That
even
little wild
that
child.
little wild dog. I wasn't even gonna get him. I remember exactly how it was.
I know. I love telling people the
Yeah.
story of how you ended up
I
with him.
was I was at the paw center, looking for this.
The Pause Center is the no kill shelter in
Yes.
Kyle,
And
Texas,
if you
which
ever and if you ever
like
if you're ever getting a
adopt,
dog,
don't shop.
yep,
Yeah.
adopt, don't shop, 100%. Adopt, don't shop.
Especially from no kill shelters, like those
Yes.
are the best ones
Those are the
because
best
yeah.
dogs ever, and like all they want is love. And it's funny because I was gonna get a dog named Nadia, and she was a German Shepherd Husky mix, and she was white, had two different color eyes, and she was so beautiful. I always thought I was gonna get a girl dog, you know. And the day I went in there to go get her, I was gonna spend $100 that day to go get that dog. And I walked in and she was gone. They were like, "Dang!" Like I was like, "Yo, where's Nadia?" And they're like, "Oh, she's like, they foster her." I was like, "Dang!" Like what? I guess I'm gonna go see if there's another dog in there. And I go in there and I don't see anybody. I'm about to leave, and one of my brothers, Xavier, he's on the floor talking to this couple, and like there you go, I see a 3 month or 2 month year old little Caesar. I'm like, oh dude, what?
He's so cute.
He's so cute, bro. Like what? And he gave me that look like I'm about to be your son. Like this is meant to happen. Like
You're
you
just
and I.
causing a ruckus
Yeah,
over
I know
there.
I am. My knees started to lock up.
I was gonna say you could have sat over here and had a little bit more space, but that was your choice.
But he was like, I hope we're about to be together forever. And then I didn't. I kind of got hit by it. So I saw him. He came me that look like he always does. And I was like, he tilts his head like, hey, what's up, bro? And the family was like, it's funny because I was doing all this, and like the ladies from the paw center are like, yo, you can't do this type of business in here. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you're gonna do this type of business, go outside. We can't see this. I can't see this transaction. And I was like, all right, cool, cool, cool. So we go outside, and I was like, yo, how old is he? They're like 3 months. I was like, how did you find him? Like, he was just wandering on the road. He had a collar on him. Oh, he didn't have a collar on. No, he did have a collar on, but there was like no number or anything. It was just a collar with his name on it. And I was like, oh, for real? They're like, what's his name? They're like, well, his name was Atticus, but that's a bit too much. And I was like, yeah, it is a bit too much. So they're like, we just call him Buddy or Pal or Bubba or something like that. And I was like, all right, okay, okay. I was like, well, so how much? And like, well, he's totally free, because we can't. I don't want to charge you for money, because like, because we're not like we didn't charge him for money, so why would we charge you for money? And I was like, yo, that's honestly probably
Which
like
those are really kind people
that's
because
honestly so kind,
mean
and it's
people would have really tried to
and it's
like
crazy
rip you
because I
off.
haven't. I used to send her pictures of Caesar to show him like how he's grown up, and I haven't sent a picture in a while. But after doing this, I'm definitely gonna send him a picture of Caesar because it's been a minute since they've seen him, so I'm definitely gonna send him a picture because he's grown up now and he's so loving, and I just love him to death. But
He's the
ever
cutest
since,
little dog.
yeah, he's
And
so
not
cute.
even little.
Not even
He's
little.
the cutest
he's a
big dog.
He's a chimpanzee now. He runs like a monkey and all this, jumps like a monkey. And he's probably missing me so much right now because I haven't seen him all day. And Roz isn't home either, so I got him. I was sitting in the car and I was like, dang, what am I gonna name you, dude? And I was sitting there, I was like, just naming out names like, bow, 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 bow. He didn't listen to one of those. I was like, yo, what do you want me to call you, dude? And then finally I was like, you know what, Caesar. And he looked at me, and I was like, oh, that's it.
That's your name.
That's your name, Caesar. And he really looks like a Caesar, and I picked that name for him.
And he's been here ever since.
Been here ever since.
And he's so sweet and adorable, and I love every time he comes to visit. he literally rushes through the door and just like attacks you, but in the most loving way.
Yeah,
Just
like I'm
attacks you
home.
and rams you essentially like to the floor. I think like we had someone visiting our house one day, and Caesar was like, Johnny and Caesar were coming in, and y'all ran through he ran through the door and like almost knocked these people over with all of his love. And I was like, my nephew's so cute.
He's so cute, and then people get scared of him because the way he looks, but he's not scary at
Yeah.
all. Like he's the type of dog that like if you don't say hello to him, of course he's gonna he's
Mhm.
gonna be on you because you didn't you didn't
You
acknowledge
didn't
him.
give him love.
You didn't greet him. That's like kind of disrespectful. He knows like he kind of feels disrespected, and so
Yeah.
you've given him love, and he's like, all right, cool. Now you gave me
He's
love.
like,
All right, bet. You know,
awesome.
appreciate it, and then I'm out. But yeah, that was probably one of the best things I ever did in my
Yeah.
life. That's honestly the moment I became an adult.
Getting a dog.
Getting a dog. Now that I think about it, that's the moment where I was like,
Because
yeah, I'm an
you gained
adult.
so much responsibility from that.
Right
Oh,
then
for
and there.
sure.
Right then and there, I was like, yeah, I'm an adult. I made the decision to get a dog, and that was an adult decision, and now I am an adult. Yep. I have responsibility. I have a baby now. That's what it
And
felt
he
like.
was at that time a baby when you
Yeah.
got him, so it only makes sense. Going on about, you have a big moment coming up. You mentioned you were a senior in college, but your senior is ending. You
Dum,
are
bum,
bum, bum,
bum.
bum. You're graduating here in like 2
Doom.
months.
What's the graduation thing? The song?
Bum,
Bum,
ba-da-da, bum, bum,
bum, bum,
bum,
bum, bum,
ba-da-da-da.
bum.
So you are graduating,
Yep.
and you, as you mentioned, you're doing ROTC, which means you will be commissioning into the Army into becoming an officer, head honcho, boom, boom, boom. Um, so that's a really big adulting moment, not
Yeah.
just graduating, but also commissioning, becoming an officer in the Army. Tell me how you feel about that. Do you feel like ready for it? Do you feel college prepared you for this part? Like
So,
overall, what are your thoughts on this
so
big
I'm gonna be
move?
honest with you. College did not prepare me for the military, but just being honest, probably not as like it got me ready for the military. Probably, but not it didn't prepare
Yeah.
me for it. But I know that I know God's with me, so he's definitely not gonna let me struggle in the military. But he's definitely gonna have times where he's gonna put me in my lowest points. But you know, I know I'm a strong individual. I know I can take on anything that I put my mind to. So I know I'm through college. I wasn't ready, but I know personally I'm ready for the military. I'm ready to graduate. I'm ready to do all this stuff. So I just can't wait for the journey. Gonna give it to God's hand, and then He's gonna lead me the right way. So that's
Are you excited or
excited to commission.
are you intrigued to see kind of like what your commission position is gonna like be composed of?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready. Honestly, so you guys don't know, I'm commissioned to be field artillery, but I branched detailed, so I'll be field artillery for a couple years, and then I'll finish my career as an adjutant general. And
Which is all military terms to me as
Yeah,
well, so I don't
yeah.
understand any of that.
Field artillery, is just, boom, boom, you're sending out the missiles and stuff and whatnot, doing combat arms. And then I'll go to adjutant general. Adjutant general is just dealing with, like, EO complaints, sharp complaints, domestic violence, people having divorce, people going. Through some things in their life. Like I said earlier, I'm just here to help people out. That's what I'm put on this world for. And I know combat arms is going to be interesting, but I know what my life is going to be, and that's going to be adjutant general. And I'm ready for that. I personally do believe I'm ready to be an adjutant general
That's
officer in the
good.
military. So I'm not scared of that part. I'm scared of the combat arms. I'm afraid of the combat arms part, but I'm not too worried about it. I know I can do I'm gonna do what I
You
gotta do.
what you gotta do.
I gotta do what I gotta do.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it's my job. So, at some points sometimes it's gonna suck. Sometimes it's gonna be good. But that's just how it is. It's just the military life.
Yeah.
We lived it as kids. So
Yeah.
we saw it. With dad and mom. So
Yeah.
So I'm ready
It'll
for
be
it.
it'll be interesting because you're the first kid. Well, yeah, you're the first kid. Kind of just moving from being a military brat to actually being in the military
as an
so,
officer.
Yeah, as an officer. So it'll be I'm like super excited to see how you're.
I don't
gonna
think anybody in
grow
our
there.
family was an officer.
I don't know. Maybe Abuelo, but I don't
No,
know.
I think Abuelo enlisted. I don't think Abuelo went to college.
Oh. Well then, yeah. Then you're a first generation.
First generation.
You're a
Garcia
first generation
Sanchez.
officer.
Wow. Dang.
But I'm like super excited for you. And I'm like proud that you actually like stayed in ROTC all those years and like are actually getting into the
There are
commissioning part
definitely
of it.
times where I was like, no, I can't do this
Yeah,
no more. Definitely,
yeah,
there was times like that.
exactly.
But you know,
But you
pushed through,
stuck with it,
stuck with
and
it.
you're like, this is gonna be my career path. Like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Well, shout out to moms because you know she always taught us, you know, we don't quit when we start stuff. So you know, I already
no
started.
matter how much you want.
No matter how you want to quit, you know, you don't quit. And, you know, and I wouldn't quit. Especially, you know, they give you free money. You know, that's free money you can get for college.
That's
You know,
true.
for school and stuff. Um,
That's true.
so it's definitely a good gig. Definitely a
Yeah.
good gig. You know, just got to sign your life away.
But and it's not even like your whole life. You only have to give so many years.
Yeah, I know, but you know.
But then eventually you're like, oh,
yeah.
I can't leave this.
Yeah, but I believe I signed my life away.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely gonna do that for probably my life.
So
I think I don't know. We'll see what God has in plan.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. Who knows? But moving on to more fun things. I mean, not that growing up and adulting is fun.
No,
but
great time.
Moving on to more fun topics. Something that Jonathan and I share a deep love for is reality TV, and more specifically, MTV.
Great network.
So, yes, music television, which is no longer music television, it's just
Like
reality
TV show. I didn't even know that was the first time I ever knew what MTV stands for. Music television.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I'm so serious.
Oh my gosh! When we were in middle school and high school, or not? No. When
I
we
remember
were
it
in
used to be
middle
like
school
all music videos and
yeah,
stuff.
every
right?
morning it was like music videos
Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah, music television.
I never really thought about like it was music television. You know. Wow, that's interesting.
So yeah, so we have a shared love for MTV reality TV shows. We kind of started watching like together.
Are You the One?
Are You the One was kind of really what
Yeah.
showed us that we had a shared love
and
for
then,
it.
And then
Before that, I had been watching The Real World a couple seasons.
Yeah, and I watched The Real World. I saw you like I watched a couple episodes
Yeah.
of you on The Real World.
But
and
like,
then-
Are You the One is really what got us
Yeah,
into.
what got us. What got us in, and then you started watching the challenge, and I saw the end of the challenge where the challenge. I started watching the challenge where Johnny Bananas took all the money from that one girl.
From Sarah.
From Sarah, and that's when
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is good, you know.
This show is good.
This shit is good, and
Yeah,
then like
and it's
ever
so
since then,
addicting.
yeah, it's so addicting. Ever since then, I just kept watching on and on and on.
Mhm.
And this honestly, this season's probably one of the like funniest
Of the
seasons.
challenge,
It's probably one of the funniest seasons
They've
ever.
gotten rid of, if you haven't seen it, spoiler, they've gotten rid of essentially like the biggest champs.
The biggest
The only one
champs.
left is like Cara Maria.
Yeah, they got rid of all the dudes, you know, the good guys.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like it's showing that like people are
Yeah.
starting to watch the
And
show
now. Yeah, people are watching. Like
people
now
are
they're
watching
actually
the show
now MTV is actually branching out and getting people from
around the world.
world.
UK, Australia.
Yeah, like they started with the
Brazil.
UK a couple seasons ago, and now they've like brought in Turkey and
Brazil.
Australia, all that stuff. So
all that.
Mexico, except he got
Yeah,
eliminated
he
the
got
first
eliminated
episode.
He broke his arm, dude. Come on, dude.
That's probably the worst part about being in the challenge. Excuse me. Is that you get kicked off right off the bat, essentially, if you get an injury, and then it just ruins everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I can do it. Well,
No,
not us,
nope.
but we have even
I
thought.
could do the challenge. I know I could do it. You know,
Well, we have
MTV
even
put me
thought-
on there. I'll be on it. Are You the One? I could do that too.
Well, we've even talked. You're messing with the microphone. We've even
That's
talked
true.
about like auditioning for like reality TV because you have to be on another TV show with them before you can get onto the challenge.
Yeah,
And so we had discussed many times like, oh, we're 21 now. Like,
I was
we can
made for
apply.
reality TV. I was made for reality TV.
So that's always been something we talk about. We follow like when we first started watching Are You the One? Because we have been watching Are You the One since the first
since
season.
season 1. I remember we watched the commercial. We were like, oh, what?
Yeah, we were like, oh, definitely. And then it was a thing where like we were in school, but we had different schedules and all that stuff. But it would be something that whenever we would come home on the weekends, we would sit on the couch and we'd like catch up on all the episodes we forgot. And then once we were like our separate ways, we would meet up just to watch an
Just to
episode.
go watch the episode. I remember I'd have a flag football game. Like, as soon as I was done, I'd run over there. Hey, did I make it on time? Did I make it on time?
Yeah, or like if we didn't have a time to get together, we would like tell each other, okay, I watched it, you watch it, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
And like we would have our own brackets as to
Yeah, who was with who, and then like we try to guess, and then like sometimes we were right, sometimes we weren't.
But
yeah,
yeah,
that
so
was
we're kind of obsessed. Right now we're on the challenge. Do you have a favorite?
To win it all,
Or
or just like a favorite in the show?
well, okay. Do you have a
Okay,
favorite?
so like,
Do you have a favorite right now on the challenge that you think is gonna win? And then second, do you have a favorite
mm,
MTV reality show?
okay, so okay, I'm gonna do it like this. My favorite person on the challenge right now is Bear. He's just so
Oh my
funny.
gosh, he's
He's
so
so,
terrible. He's
he's so
so
funny.
rude to all the girls.
Yeah, I know. But oh yeah, that's true. But like the way he just like when he
He
act,
is crazy.
like he's just crazy. He like
Yes.
literally reminds you of the Joker. That's why like that's him and
Yes.
his girl remind me of Joker and the Harley Quinn.
Yes.
That's why it's like that's why I'm like that's why they're like my
Mhm.
favorite characters because like they're kind of funny and stuff. I know he's very disrespectful to women. That's not okay. You know, not okay at all.
No.
Um, but just like the way he just like acts is just like it's so bad that it's funny. You know, like the fact that the way he acts like that is literally just like the Joker. That's why I laugh. But But my favorite challenge guy would have to be Hunter. You know, that guy has a lot of drive and a
Yeah,
lot of
and then he
heart.
got cheated last
And he got
season.
cheated last season. You know.
Oh man, I was so mad.
Yeah, but
I
that's
mean, yeah, he was
Team
rude
Young
to
Buck.
her, but like
TYB. TYB, Team Young Buck. But yeah, Hunter. I really do think Hunter is not gonna win this one, but he's gonna win. He's gonna win one here
He's
shortly.
gonna win one soon.
Yeah, he's gonna win one soon. You know. I think Polly has a really good chance of winning one, or winning this season. You
Polly
know.
and Kyle's feud is
Yeah,
hilarious.
you know they're.
This last episode, they like acknowledged that were. It was a
Yeah.
joke now. That it's just like there's no avoiding it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, there's no avoiding it no matter what. You know, either he's gonna get him out or he's gonna get him out. Like
Either
end of the
way,
day, one
someone's
of them is
leaving.
gonna get out here pretty shortly. But
Do you have a
um,
favorite show?
favorite show?
Mhm.
Ah, they're all so good. They're all so
Mhm.
good. Cause I also watched X on the Beach. You know,
Mhm.
the
Yeah, I
second
only
season.
watched the first season of that. I
Yeah.
tried to watch the second.
I watched the
season, but I
first
wasn't
season
hooked.
too, and I started the first season. I was like, oh, this is boring.
Mhm.
But then I started the second season. The second season's good. You know, they got a lot of good. You know, a lot of
But
good
then,
people on there.
but I saw like on the previews, like a lot of the people from the first season are back on the second season, which
That's
I
only-
thought it was gonna be a show more where it's a whole new cast.
Yeah, but
every
it is a whole new
season.
cast. But you know, the crazy thing about MTV is like they all date each other. So it's like.
They do.
So it's like.
I know.
So it's
That's
like
like
you just.
you're
it's like you
guaranteed
can't
a
get-
relationship.
Yeah, you're guaranteed a relationship on MTV, you know? So it's kind of funny. So it's like they all just date each other. So, I mean, you know, second season's pretty good. Favorite show? Oh, man. Favorite show. Dang, because Are You the One is pretty good. I'll have to say, honestly, The Challenge.
Mhm.
The Challenge is probably my favorite out of three. It's probably
Yeah.
goes The Challenge, and then Are You the One, then X on the... The Challenge, and then depending on the season... depending on what season you are for Are You the One can be second,
Mhm.
and then you know X on the Beach is third. But
Yeah.
like that's only a couple seasons for Are You the One that I like.
Yeah, I feel like Are You the One was my favorite, but then after like I think maybe like the fifth season or maybe the fourth season, I kind of lost. Like I still watched it, but I kind of lost interest because
Yeah.
it just didn't have that effect
Yeah, in fact,
anymore.
it was like repeating. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we get it, you know, 11-11. But
Yeah.
but apparently now they're about to
Now they're
add-
about to add like a
Yeah.
whole bisexual
Yeah, and I'm-
gay thing, which
yeah.
will be interesting
Which
to
is
see
interesting
how
to
it plays
see.
out.
But I probably won't watch it.
You
know.
probably will.
I probably won't.
You probably will.
I probably won't, to be honest.
You'll
but, you know.
probably watch the first episode and decide from there.
Yeah, probably. That's probably what I would do. Probably watch the first episode, probably decide from there. Just like I did on X on the Beach, you know.
Yeah. But I think my favorite, I would have to say right now, is The Challenge. But I am a big fan of The Real World. And The Real World. Wow, I still can't. The Real World, they're actually in the process of making their new season. And their new season is going to involve Facebook. So I just went to South by Southwest and I went to a Facebook event. And at the event, they were talking about new things coming up with Facebook. And they had mentioned that the next season of The Real World, they're going to actually make it through with Facebook. And they're going to have it to where the people on Facebook will vote who's going to be one of the cast members in the show.
Okay.
And they won't know until it's done on
really?
until the poll is done on Facebook. So I think that's pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how Real World, but for me it's like The Challenge right now, then Real World, Are You the One, and then like X on the Beach first season because I haven't seen the second season. But yeah. So there's our shared love for MTV. So this
Gotcha.
episode is going to air the day before Thanksgiving?
Dang, girl, that's a long time from now. Jeez.
This episode is going to air
Goodness
the day
gracious.
before April Fools. And so I have a list of jokes that I found on BuzzFeed, and it's like 21 hilariously bad jokes only kids could have written. And so they're funny, but they also don't make any sense. Okay, so you can't look at the computer because I have to read the jokes to tell you them. So the article is called 21 kid jokes that are so bad they're good. And it's on BuzzFeed if you want to look it up. Anyways, the first one is, what do you say to a ham with legs?
Pork chop.
Don't follow me.
Don't follow me.
Yeah.
A ham with legs?
Uh-huh.
Don't follow. I don't get it.
A kid wrote it. You don't have to get it. Why does Mario wear a hat?
Because he's a plumber?
Because he is bold. He's bold enough to wear a
Y'all
hat.
can see my face right now. It'd be like that one girl. She was like,
The like, what's it to you meme? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you get when you cross a T-Rex and a chicken?
A chicken Rex.
Nothing but death.
Okay, that makes sense, because maybe the T-Rex is
Yeah,
going to eat
exactly.
the chicken. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, that one actually made sense.
What does NASA stand for?
Not always Santa's America.
Okay, that's unique. You got the first word right. Not another spaceship. Ah!
Oh, that was funny. Not another spaceship. Ah.
Okay, next one. A boy's name is Shut Up. His teacher asked his name, and he said, "Shut up."
Okay. 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 A boy's name is Shut Up.
No, okay, so I read the joke wrong, but it's still
Okay.
funny. A boy's name is Shut Up. His teacher asked him his name, and he said,
Shut
up.
That was funny.
What's the difference between a sausage roll and a rat?
A sausage roll and a rat? You can eat a sausage roll, but you can't eat a rat?
I wish that was the answer. You're not coming to my house. Okay.
That's good. That's good. That was a good one.
Question. What kind of dinosaur loves sleep?
A Sleeposaurus Rex.
All of them. They will never wake up now.
Oh,
That one's kind of sad.
yeah.
That one's a little
That's
morbid.
because they died.
Okay, a man says, "You are evil." The other man, "I am not." The man, "Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no,
This man's
yes,
talking to
no."
himself.
Both men die.
What? What? Did he just commit suicide?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
What the
How
heck?
old are dinosaurs?
Dead.
That would be really good, right? Yeah, no, they put very, 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 very old times 100.
Goodness gracious.
You can tell kids wrote them. Why can't you stand under Rihanna's umbrella?
What is it? What does he say?
There's too many bodyguards under there already. Probably about 50. There's no space. What's the difference between a man and a poo?
What's the difference between a man and a poo?
Mm-hmm.
One's brown. Oh, no. That doesn't make sense because I'm brown.
Well, the answer is nothing.
Oh, they said men stink. Oh, dang. Shots fired.
What do old people say? You sounded like Amanda from the Amanda Show, where she goes, No, they say, my back. Okay. Why is the lady called Cher?
I don't know why.
Because she likes to share her dinner with friends and maybe poor people for charity?
Where are these kids' parents?
Why did the dragon went camping?
That one here's one. Like the grammar's already wrong, kid.
I know, it was very wrong. But why did it go camping?
Because they had to start the campfire.
Nope. What else is he supposed to do?
Okay. I don't know. Be a dragon?
Multiple choice question. How did the chicken lose her hat? A, because of an accident. B, because the government stole it.
P?
You're correct. The government stole her hat. I wouldn't be surprised. Just saying.
Dun, dun, dun.
What did the color orange say to the fruit orange?
What did the color orange say to the fruit orange?
Mm-hmm.
Orange, you glad we were oranges?
You know, that'd be funny too. I'm calling the cops "cause you stole my name." They spelled "cause" C-O-S-E.
What's a cause? I have to look it up.
No, it's nothing. I
Ah.
was noting the grammar. Sorry, I didn't read that joke well. Oops. Why did the chicken cross the road?
To get to the other side,
He did it for an unknown reason. It's a valuable answer.
I guess. Just probably was curious on what was happening on the
Yeah.
other side, you know.
What did the mitten say to the hat?
Let's rock and roll.
You go up there, and I stay down here.
Nice.
Okay, last
Nice.
one. What do people call when you break something?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. What do people call you when you break something?
What?
Idiot.
You idiot.
And
That's so true, though.
and those are BuzzFeed's 21 hilariously bad jokes written by children.
BuzzFeed 21 bad jokes from children.
But apparently that's a Twitter account. The
Okay.
Twitter is @KidsWriteJokes. So if you want to see more jokes, I guess check them out. That's your shout out. You're welcome. But that was funny.
That
But
was-
also some of them, did
Some of
not
them-
make
some of
any
them
sense
didn't make sense,
whatsoever.
so.
All right, now it's time
Whoops.
for the mug of questions.
Yeah.
Pick a random question from the mug.
I hope I don't get the one I wrote down because I don't want to talk about what I wrote down.
Well, okay, so you can. You can skip a question. You can draw a new question. It's up to you.
Nope. For everybody after the show, you have to do the first question you pick. I'm setting that rule down. That rule has been made.
I mean, no one has skipped a question yet.
Okay, good. Good.
But I always give that. I don't know what it's called, but I always give that announcement. Okay, first question. I know who wrote this.
Do what makes you happy, or do what makes you some money, some money. Okay, so guys, the question is, do what makes you happy or what makes you money? Dang, I guess I talked about this a little bit earlier. I guess I'd have to say, oh man, I would say do what makes you happy, because if it makes you happy, then you'll probably make the most money in it, right?
Mhm.
And if you do a job that makes the most money, but you don't like it, you're not gonna make no money. So I'd have to say, do what makes you happy. Whatever makes you happy is probably gonna make you the most money, because
Exactly.
you're gonna be there the most.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I would say do what makes you happy.
Wise words. Great words.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Because I used to live for the what makes you money, and that
I think everyone starts off that
obviously
way.
that's not.
Oh, don't put it back
did you
in
just
there.
say that?
That was really good.
Did you just see that?
He just flicked the questions. If you're not watching this, he just flicked the question paper, and it landed perfectly back into the mug of questions. Good job, dude. Trick shots. Go sign up for Dude Perfect.
I was like, what?
I would say the same answer. I would say do what makes you happy. Everyone starts off doing what they need to
Yeah.
do to make you money.
And it,
But once you're at that level where you're like, okay, no, I want to do what makes me happy, like, then you're gonna, like you said, you'll be making more money because
Yeah.
you'll be spending more time at that job.
yeah.
So I also agree on that. Okay. Next one. What is your biggest fear? My biggest fear, I would say, is like death. More so losing someone. Like
Yeah, that's
that's
rough.
one of my
No,
biggest
that's
fears,
rough.
losing someone like in my family. Like
That's-
that I'm literally talk to every day. Like that's a biggest fear of mine. Losing
Yeah.
either you, Chris, mom, dad, like grandparents, like all that type of thing. That's one of my biggest fears. Just
Yeah.
having to face the reality
Of that
whenever
person, yeah.
whenever someone passes
Yeah.
away.
That's
So that's
yeah.
my biggest fear.
Yeah. I actually went through that. I lost one of my good friends
Yeah.
last year, April 30th. That's a tough thing. My biggest fear is honestly disappointing you guys. Like that's my biggest fear. You know, I don't really fear a lot. You know, I used to fear heights, but you know, can't really fear heights
I
in the
feel like
military.
everyone has a
Yeah,
fear of heights at one
but
point in their lives.
but honestly, yeah, my biggest fear is honestly disappointing my family. You know, 'cause I feel like I've been put on this high pedestal of trying to do good, and I don't want to fail them. You know, I don't want to fail you guys. You know, I'm
Mhm.
doing all this guy. I'm doing all this stuff for you guys. So
And we are proud of you
yeah,
because
so
you are conquering it.
I'm moving
You're
mountains.
somehow conquering
I'm
it.
somehow moving mountains, but ever since I started going back to church again, I found God. I gave Him everything. For my life. I gave Him completely everything. There was a reason I went through all that. Shadow of death. All that valley of death. But no, I'm being serious. I think there's a
No,
reason.
yeah, no.
There's a reason I did a lot of stuff. And I'm glad I'm here now.
There
He's
you
got
go.
a plan for me.
Yeah.
So I don't really fear. I don't really fear nothing but really God. But fearing you, like disappointing you guys, is probably my biggest fear.
Mhm.
And it's crazy. I wrote this question down.
I always end up picking a question from the person. Like last week, I picked my first question. I picked was Madison's question that she wrote.
You got the gift, Eileen. For some reason, you can pick the questions we don't want to talk about because I did not want to talk about this one. Wow.
Madison didn't want to talk about that question
Wow, you
either. That I
see,
picked.
like what the heck? That's funny. That is funny.
There's a trend here on my
There's
podcast.
a trend. Oh, here we go. You ready?
Oh, you missed it that
I
time.
missed it.
All right, you pick one more question.
Oh, like what's your go-to app? And I saw this question when I was writing my question down. I was like, I hope I don't get that question, because I don't have any more apps because I deleted all social media. So I guess my go-to app now would probably be Facebook, and I don't even use Facebook like that. So that's probably my go-to app. I deleted all social media for the time being. But if I still had social media,
Yeah,
my,
I was gonna ask you, what if you still had all your social
so if I still had
media?
all my social media, my go-to app would probably be Instagram.
Mhm.
That's like probably my go-to app when I had it.
Mhm.
Instagram. Seeing how everybody's doing.
Nice.
Dang it.
You missed it again. My go-to app currently. You can pick my question while I talk. I think my go-to app currently is probably Instagram, just because I have my personal Instagram, but I also have my curly headed cutie Eileen Instagram. So I kind of do those. But I also did just download this game yesterday that like started going viral, and it's called Scream Go Hero. And you move this little ninja guy with your voice, and it's like if you have a soft voice, he'll move. If you get a little bit louder, he'll jump, and if you get really loud, he'll jump higher. And
That's intense.
so it's a really funny app. If you
Imagine
have
playing that in public.
yeah.
Da, 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 da,
If
da.
you have free time, it's definitely something you can download. But it's like
Dang, you
something
saw the
to not
spike
do
in
in
that?
public. I
Kinda,
know that was my laugh. That was my laugh.
dang,
That may
jeez.
have also been you screaming, but
Yeah, that's a lot.
but yeah, that's one of my go-to apps as of yesterday. Also, so what's my question?
This is honestly an interesting question. Not even gonna lie.
So the question he pulled is the "Is true love real?" question, and I
Yeah.
answered that in episode 3, so y'all can go back and listen. But he says he wants to
I want to
answer
answer
that
that
question.
yeah.
So
I was meant to answer that question. There's a reason I pulled that,
okay, so go ahead and pick my question, and then is true love real?
So the question I got, well, yeah, she just said it. Is true love real? And I honestly believe that true love is real. Um, like I said earlier, I started reconnecting with God, and God is love. He shows you how to love. Love is patient and stuff. And when you're patient, you can honestly find your true love.
Mhm.
And I probably want to say that I might have. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna rush into stuff. But I do believe true love is real. With God and stuff, like you can really find your true love. Like you really can, Eileen. I'm telling you, if you find God, you can find your true love, Eileen. You won't be alone.
Butter or kettle corn popcorn? Kettle corn all the way. So I currently I have not had popcorn, any type of popcorn, in the last almost 3 years because I had braces. I just recently got my top braces off, but I still have my bottom braces. So I haven't had any popcorn, but my go-to is kettle corn. So as soon as these bottom ones come off, I'm getting myself a nice bag of kettle corn popcorn and I'm feasting. What about you? Butter?
Butter,
Butter?
butter, butter
Or
a kettle.
corn?
I'd just say probably. Mm.
I mean, butter is great like when you're at a movie theater, I think. But like if you're at a fair or something and that like food truck is there with the kettle corn, so
I would say
good.
probably let's do. Dang man, they're both so delicious. Magically delicious. Um,
And then if you add chocolate, oh, even better.
dang, I gotta go kettle corn. You know, kettle corn is just so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. Like I gotta go
Yes.
kettle corn. Like
So
you
now you
said.
know how to get to our hearts. Just bring us some kettle corn
Or
popcorn.
chocolate strawberries. That is the key to my heart. To all the women out there, chocolate strawberries. Key to my heart. Chocolate strawberries and chocolate pretzels.
Oh, yes. That's good.
Yeah.
Anything chocolate, really.
I think we're a big chocolate family. Everybody in our family loves chocolate.
We are. That was the final question in the mug of questions. So that brings us to the end. Don't put them back in there.
Awkward.
No. If you didn't see, he just poured those questions back into the mug, and I usually don't put them back in the mug. That way we have different questions every time. Oh, I was like, I forgot what I was saying. That brings us to the end of the Life and Curly Q's podcast.
Some of these questions are. Oh, here we go.
So I want to thank Jonathan for joining me.
No, thank you.
Today.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, he is my brother, so did he have a choice? I mean,
No,
yes, he did. I
there was
didn't
no
force
choice.
him here.
I was gonna do it either way, and I'll probably be back for another episode. So
For sure. And then he has friends who are also interested in joining me for
Yep.
an episode, so you'll probably see either more of him or you'll be introduced to some of his friends.
ooh, I just
Can
kicked
you
this stand. I am
My
sorry, public.
goodness.
I am sorry. That probably did something.
So, do you have anything you want to shout out about you, or just anything in general you want to shout out?
I want to
before we
shout
end
out. Shout out mom and dad. You know, thank you for putting me on this
the
world.
OGs.
The OGs. I want to shout out God. You know, thank you for being in my life. You know, I want to shout out my homies back in Texas State. You know, y'all know who y'all are. If y'all are like YouTuber people, you should watch my homie Davion West. You know, he just started being a YouTuber. You know, he's traveling the world, Europe, Berlin, you know, Belgium and all this. I'd definitely go check out his videos. You know, I'm on some of his videos too, so, you know, support the Garcia Sanchez family, even though they're not my videos, but I'm still on them.
Well, now you're in a video. Also,
Oh,
on
yeah,
a
now
different channel.
Now I'm on a different channel, you know, and I'm going to collide these two channels so, you know, maybe they can blow up together. But, you know, I just want to give them a shout out because, you know, I wouldn't be out here with none of those people. You know, I thank my family. I thank them. You know, you guys all are really close to my heart, you know.
Nice.
I got a big family.
Stop putting
I
them
did
back
it again.
in there.
Yikes.
You just put the questions back
Back
in
in
the
there
mug. This is
darn
why we
it.
can't have nice things.
Darn it. But yeah, I want to shout out you guys, you know.
Like I said, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. Especially you're our first male guest, so welcome.
The
Thanks
one and
for
only.
coming.
The one and only
Couldn't
Jonathan.
be anyone better. Anyways, y'all
Jeez,
can
goodness.
follow me on all social media at curly-headed cutie Eileen. To see what I'm doing outside of the podcast. The podcast comes out every other Sunday on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn Radio. Yeah, I think that's it. And you can watch it every other Monday on Facebook or on YouTube. Either way, thank y'all for joining me. Thank you, Jonathan, for joining me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Until the next one, I will see
You ain't got the
y'all.
answer, Sway.
Oh my gosh.
You ain't got the answer, Sway.
I will see y'all, or I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Deuces.